Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk About Stuff, a show I'm still trying to figure out. So there's no agenda, but I do have a panel of experts, a panel of esteemed YouTube personalities here to join me to talk about at least what I want to talk about tonight, which is this tweet I saw yesterday. Let me put it up on full up on the screen there for you all. Apparently Universal Pictures puts out a tweet yesterday at noon. At 5 p.m. my time, Central Daylight Time, June 1st, 2021. You wake up as the new head of Universal Pictures. What would you do? And all I could think of is, what could possibly go wrong with this nonsense? Anyway, everybody, I found that very entertaining, and I was desperate to talk about it, give you folks my hot take on this. But I thought it'd be fun to bring a few folks on that could drop what they're doing to enjoy some internet nonsense. And with that said, I want to introduce my fellow panelists. First of all, we have got a longtime friend of of our Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies, a longtime friend of internet friend of mine, friend of the channel. Let's give a big internet hand of welcome to Cody from the side. Cody, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Pretty good. Pretty entertained. I'm I've got one shot of vaccine and may actually get another before the summer's out. Rob might get to have a summer, so I'm pretty jazzed about that, man.
Yeah, I got my second shot's due in about 2 days, so no more masks for this guy.
Fantastic. That is absolutely wonderful news. So happy for you. That means we can get back to truly important stuff, like taking the piss out of Universal Pictures and telling them what we think. Yeah. And maybe having some fun at the expense of tweeters who actually took it seriously. Okay, let us, or perhaps Cody took it seriously. All right, let's bring in our next panelist, and that is the esteemed Eric Thorpe from Eric Thorpe Reviews. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm still waiting on my first COVID shot. I have it scheduled for Sunday.
You'll get there.
You know what? Halfway is. Where do you hail from? I know you're in Nevada, Cody. Where do you hail from, Eric?
I am Toronto, Canada. So yeah.
That's freaking right.
Yeah. So it's still. Well, I think it's in for you, Rob. Right? Everything's mostly shut down, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. What? All these other jerks, including Cody. I'm going to the movies tonight.
Yeah.
So people saying can't make it, going to the movies tonight. I'm like, must be nice.
We've had our theaters back since August, so I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but
just like straight.
Well, we can editor. Say that again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had movie theaters in here opened up around like August last summer, and then they shut down again.
Yeah, some of them around here closed back down.
I don't believe they've been open. Yeah, I don't think any in Winnipeg here, also in Canada, for those folks watching later may not be aware. I don't think anywhere here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, has a theater been open since April 2020. Like it's one of those things I'm starting to wonder. It's like, do they really exist? Sure, I've seen pictures, but I can barely remember the before times.
No, there's the Shyamalan twist yet.
Otherwise, you good, Eric?
Yeah, I'm good. I feel really bad for you now after that. I thought I had it hard here.
Yeah. You know what? It looks like all three of us have our health. And we're going to have a couple of laughs at a large corporation's expense, maybe actually contribute something positive to the conversation. Not that I'm holding to you guys to that.
Maybe we'll sign the executive contract by the end of it because our ideas are so good, but you know.
It's possible. Listen, I think now's the time. Before we get really into it, I think we've got a couple of folks in the chat, and I'm actually going to bring up the overlay so that we can see the nature of the conversation. I mean, eventually it'll come up, but I do want to highlight a few folks. First of all, we've got Jonathan from Man of Movies. Good to see you here, Jonathan.
Woo!
Thanks for popping in.
Man of movies.
John the Mon.
Man, oh, movies. The Upside Dan, another great friend of the channel.
Dan the Man.
All right. Oh, look at this. Some schmuck named Eric. Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, that's you, Eric.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, Burja Rokar. Good to see you here. And yeah, didn't you and is it Burja? You
Okay.
pronounce it correctly. Burja, you and Burja, you'd done a collaboration recently.
Yeah.
I might have been there in the chat.
Yeah, that was just it was on Saturday we shot it, and then I guess so Burja, I've spoiled his identity a few times, but his actual name is Jace Burns. So that's
Yeah,
Burja's his Star Wars name. But so anyways, and then he was editing it, I guess, the last few days, and I gotta say that must have been a task. It was like an hour and a half, and he got it down to like a nice tight half an hour. So
Yeah, myself, when it goes that, ask Brian, DMG Dragon Movie Guy. I get to a point where I'm not fucking editing that. I'm just, no, we'll redo it. Reshoots, everybody.
you gotta get the
Yeah, I
Snyder
know.
cut in there. 4 hours long.
Yeah, well,
it took me like a few times just to get my Snyder cut out, even just because I wanted to, not even just the length, but just like it was so much to take in. I wanted to like talking about it in a way I felt good. So, yeah.
cool beans. So guys, yeah, let's quick round table. When did you, or was the first time you saw this tweet when I sent it to you? Jump in.
I think
Well-
just yesterday, like
Yeah.
last night.
Any initial reactions, Cody?
Well, I mean, I think they're just kind of jumping on this one, like, running gag on Twitter right now where people were like, oh, you wake up the head of Warner Brothers, what do you do? Or, head of Disney, what do you do? So I think it's just kind of Universal trying to get on top of it with their own brand there. So I was like, okay, they're just trying to hop on the bandwagon a bit because they haven't had any real controversial movie decisions lately, I don't think. So they're like, okay, there's no restore the Snyderverse nonsense gonna go on in our timeline, so we can do this and it'll be okay, right? Right?
What about you, Eric? What was your thinking when you read it?
I was just the first thing I thought was like, crap, they like just gave up their rights to James Bond. I would have had so many ideas
yeah.
for that. They're releasing, I think the only one they released is No Time to Die. They're releasing it.
Sorry, can you pick up your gain a bit? We're losing you a little.
Just
Is that-
scream really, really loud.
Oh,
Or speak louder.
Okay,
Whatever,
I
your
wasn't-
gain, your volume, whatever.
okay.
Like it.
Sorry, I've never
What
done
mic are you
before.
using?
I think just the normal laptop, whatever the default one is.
Okay, there'll be somewhere a volume control. If you could crank that up, that'd be awesome. We got somebody new in the chat, and I'm totally gonna mispronounce that, so I'm just gonna roll Leisure Dino Golf, Liger Dino Golf, Leger Dino Golf,
Dinos the golf. Welcome.
Dino. You know what? Dino Golf I can pronounce correctly because, how could you screw that up? Even if you just speak a little louder.
Okay, I will just talk loud.
Yeah. Feel free to.
Hey,
put
guys!
some- There you go.
Okay, I will talk louder until I find that.
Okay, it looks like I've first of all want to say hello to. Now is that Leisure? Sorry if I totally effed that up. My bad. He does say though, and it's he says he can't believe Comcast isn't buying MGM. Universal could have benefited from that. I would imagine though sooner or later they'd get into a regulatory bind, eh, guys? Like, like how many studios can you agglomerate before somebody finally says, okay, that's gross even for us?
Doesn't seem to be stopping any of them so far. So
Yeah, I would say like Universal doesn't have actually that many when you compare it to like Warner Brothers or Disney. I think they could use something like James
Well, it's still NBC Universal / Hulu / everything else, isn't it? Like its parent.
Okay, but I mean they don't have like I think James Bond is sort of a franchise that would be like something that could actually help them compete in a way, I guess, with something like
Oh, okay.
or
yeah, but they got Jurassic World and Fast and Furious, so they're doing okay for themselves.
yeah, they're doing all right, but like I mean,
Hello? Boy, everyone's cutting out all of a sudden.
okay.
Oh, one of my streams is having connection issues. Oh, there we go. You're back.
Okay.
You're not back.
Me?
Are you with us, Eric?
I think so.
Well, we can hear you.
Okay.
So we'll just, you know what? You're a handsome man, but you know what? As long as we can hear you, that's what's important.
Okay, I can see me on my TV.
Yeah.
Or-
Okay. Where were we here? We were talking about Leisure. Oh, apparently Universal only has, according to Leisure, only has 33% stake in Hulu, and Disney has all that rest. So, okay. Back to this tweet, though. Is it really just so? Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I always find it entertaining when a large corporation tries to be cool. Like I usually look at these attempts from YouTubers as kind of an eye-rolly. Imagine if you could mash up two of your favorite franchises together, and I'm like, why would I do that? Kind of like it the way that's over there, makes it neat, easy to figure out, but sure.
I don't know. I always have fun thinking about like if things could cross over, even though I know they shouldn't, but I can't help myself.
Well, I'm not saying they necessarily shouldn't. I'm not making a moral prescriptive here, Eric. Don't worry. It's more of a kind of a, I don't know why. Well, let me ask you guys this, and this goes for the chat too. Okay, you did. What would you do? Is there like a fantasy, list of movies you'd love to see greenlit? And it doesn't matter where it is. You just know it's been in development hell, or heck, maybe it's in development hell in your own head. It's like, boy, if I could only write the script, if I could only get this idea on paper, it may go somewhere. Whatever. Eric, what do you got? What's in your fantasy greenlight list?
So not necessarily Universal even then?
I don't think so. You're the head of a studio. Right now, You've got hundreds of millions at your beck and call. You could always do a deal with somebody. Look at Sony and Disney. They somehow manage on occasion to do a deal. They can all do a deal. Heck, you could buy back James Bond from MGM if you wanted to.
Okay, well, I mean, one that comes to mind that, like, I guess we're kind of getting, it's going to be different than it originally was, but I'd still like to see a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie. I mean, that's now sort of turned into Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, but yeah.
I agree with you. It's one of the few. Oh, look at this.
Oh man, I know. And you
mentioned Ben Affleck, so I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You also have the Christian Bale one in the background, always staring at me.
Yep.
You know what, guys? I agree with you. It's one of the few things that I positive for me. Again, for me, not to start an argument about the Zack Snyder Justice League, but one of the few things I pulled out of that was like, boy, I'd love to see a Ben Affleck Batman, especially older, because my understanding from the Dark Knight, there you go. From the Dark Knight's series in the graphic novels, he was older. So to see that played by an older man with the acting chops he has, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's your That's yours right now, eh? Is like
That's
let's
like
say
the first one that comes to mind, like that sort
Yeah.
of actually was in development,
Mhm.
I guess.
What about you, Cody?
Well, I'm gonna jump off of what Eric said with the solo Batfleck movie. I definitely would greenlight that in a heartbeat. Uh, just because everything that's come out about that movie just sounds incredible. Like Joe Manganiello was Deathstroke, and him kind of like seeking revenge against Batman because he thinks like he's responsible for the death of his son, the comic books, or just for the death of his son, and everything that's come out about that just sounds like, oh, that sounds like a really cool movie. And also like what you said about him being an older Batman who's been around for 20 years. He's got that comic book rogues gallery that no other Batman have. Where it's almost where I feel like there's a good chance for it to be like a live action Arkham City, Arkham Games type thing, where it's like you got all these other villains interacting with each other, working together, fighting each other. So that could be kind of cool because we haven't really seen that before. Because usually the villains either die or get sent to jail and never be seen again. So that's one of the things that really excited me about seeing more of him. But unfortunately, we're not gonna really see that. But I guess aside from that, well, since Warner Brothers lost the rights to the Lego movies, like back in 2019 when Lego Movie 2 didn't do as well as they hoped, which really sucks because I really enjoyed those movies. But from what I've heard, Universal got the rights. From what I've heard, so I would probably try to do something like Lego Batman, but with one of their intellectual properties, like a Lego Jurassic Park movie. I think that could be a lot of fun. Or
Yeah,
maybe
Good
suddenly-
like
idea.
Yeah, when it's
Yeah.
Lego, suddenly you cross it over with anything, or
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that comes to mind immediately. One of the things that has been in development hell for so long doesn't really count anymore because it's actually starting to film next week. Well, Indiana Jones 5, that's finally happening for realsies this time, so I can't really count that anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see more Lego movie projects. It'd be nice if Universal, since we're on the subject of them for this, if they could just, pull their heads out of their butts and work with Marvel and create another solo Hulk movie. That would be great because I feel like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk deserves a, 2-hour movie of his own finally, which would be nice. Maybe get to see some stuff like, I don't know, like The Leader and stuff. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the Hulk, to be honest, but it's something I'd love to see expanded upon more than just simply being in the Avengers movies.
Yeah. You've got, especially with Mark Ruffalo, eh? Like, again, another actor with some chops to really sort of develop. Well, not that. Who did it in the Hulk from, like, the early aughts? The early noughts?
Eric Bana.
No, before that, wasn't it? Oh, big method actor, big.
You talking about the TV show or one of the movies?
One of the movies.
Okay, because it was Eric Bana in the 2003 movie, then it was Edward Norton in
Oh,
2008.
Edward
Thank you,
Yeah,
Edward
okay.
Norton. Yes, I mean, not that neither of them didn't have chops, but yeah, Mark Ruffalo. We're so familiar with him to see him explore the character more. And you're not. It's funny. You're not the only one. It's going back and forth in the chat, but Burya Rokar right off the bat said the first thing I'd do if I ran Universal is give the rights to the Incredible Hulk back to Marvel. Now there is. Some discussion about what sort of rights they have, and I think that kind of goes to what you're speaking about, Cody. Correct? That they've got the rights to the Hulk within an Avengers context, but not.
Yeah, which doesn't really make any sense to me because if we take a look at the Marvel-Sony relationship, it wasn't just, oh, Spider-Man can show up in ensemble movies. He's got, 2 solo movies with a third one coming. And those have been wildly successful, and both parties seem to be profiting off of that, so why can't Universal take a hint and work with them? I'm not saying give them the rights flat out because, Hulk's a big character and all that, and they got, rides at Universal Orlando with his face on it and stuff, so I understand them not wanting to give the rights, but, just play ball a little bit. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Gotcha.
Fox though they did fully give over X-Men.
I mean, Fox, they just purchased them with big boy money, so I mean, that doesn't
Yeah.
really count.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, we do have guys. I'm a little disappointed in both of you. It's Buria Rokar with the first hot take of the night.
Oh,
He says, I find this very entertaining, which is Universal just being greedy. It's like, I've never heard of greed in Hollywood put together.
what? That's a thing?
Buria, just having some fun. Do not mean anything personal about it. Please don't think I'm a dick. I'm a bit of a dick, but not a total dick. Ooh, Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Wasn't even trying. Well, okay, so back to you, Eric. What else is on your else is on your fantasy green light list?
Okay, now we're probably moving a little more into less realistic, but I don't know. One thing I would love, I mean, obviously being a huge James Bond fan, I would like, I mean, there was a couple spin-offs even.
I'm unfamiliar with this James Bond you speak of, or your connection to it. Please elaborate.
Okay, so yes, I got my little section here. This sort of, I tried to make the shelf sort of encapsulate all of my main interests.
Okay, a little closer to the mic, man.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Really close. Just get really
Much
close
better.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, maybe
I
not.
I
Don't have
did
to
turn
eat it.
up-
Just the further away,
Okay.
harder it is to
did.
hear you.
Is it better than before though? I put up input volume. Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I put
that
that to
should
full.
be.
So
Okay,
that's at
and
full
just be
now.
a little closer. It's just not picking you
Okay.
up as well as it could. Okay.
How
All
is
right.
that?
Anyway, sorry, man. I interrupted.
Sorry.
Continue.
Sorry. Yeah, I guess I would like.
How can you tell he's a Canadian? Oh, no, sorry. We're both just going to sorry ourselves to death. Continue.
So during the Pierce Brosnan run of Bond movies, I think there was at least 2 spin-offs planned with side characters. I don't even know if they're the ones I would want the spin-offs for, but like I'm just saying they had a couple planned things. I think with Tomorrow Never Dies, they had a thing for I guess the main Bond girl in that. She was kind of a badass martial artist. I think Michelle Yeoh's character. She was gonna have a spin-off, and then I think even Die Another Day, which I mean, yes, I really don't like that one. Halle Berry's character was going to spin off. So I mean, I don't know if those are specifically the ones I want, but like something. I feel like there's potential there. But at the same time, maybe James Bond's been around a long time. It's always been just James Bond movies, so maybe they're smart for making it stay that way. But something along those lines, or maybe even just like, I think at this point, I'm really curious what will happen after No Time to Die, especially now that they did get bought by Amazon just like a few days ago. That got announced, right? And yeah, this is the last Daniel Craig one, and it's kind of hard to say because up until the Daniel Craig ones, there was never like a full-on hard reboot. I wouldn't say there was sort of a bunch of soft reboots, but they all kind of kept this loose sort of continuity. Where even in the Pierce Brosnan ones, they'd make little nods back to the Sean Connery ones. But I guess now with the Daniel Craig ones, I feel like they restarted, and they don't seem to want to. I'd almost be surprised if they really want to like reboot it again anytime soon. Because I feel like that's not as easy to do these days without getting sort of pushback from audiences. People are used to these big, like, grand movie franchises like the MCU with this one massive continuity. So I do think there's a good chance, like, No Time to Die. I mean, probably spoilers out, but I don't know any. So I think there's a good chance James Bond will die in it, and maybe they'll try to replace him with the other female 007. I don't know how that'll work or what that'll look like. I mean, it's hard to imagine a James Bond movie without James Bond, but I just feel like they want to keep the same continuity going. So I don't know how else to do that. Sorry, that was a big rant.
Yeah, no, all good, man. Again, you're a studio head. You get to rant now. You get to go on and on. All the other VPs and consulting producers basically have to listen to whatever comes out of your mouth and go, sounds good, boss.
Yeah, just sitting around in a suit, smoking a cigar, just
I don't know.
Idea.
I don't know if I want them to do that. I'm just trying to like piece together how. Well, that's why I think. Okay, I'm sorry. That's what I was trying to get to. Is if you, Jace will know. He's the only one who's talked with me live. He'll know take a while to get to my point sometimes. But
All good, brother.
the reason I was bringing all that up was I think it would almost be cool now. They're at a point where, and I get that a lot of Bond fans actually, even though I'm one, would probably hate this idea. I think it could almost be cool to like continue maybe while they're figuring out what they do with this current continuity, they could sort of go back to the original 20 movie continuity. And I actually feel like even if it was just for one movie, it would be fun to see maybe like Pierce Brosnan like as an old man Bond movie or something, because I feel like he'd actually do that. Because he actually
coming out of retirement
for more. He was sort of one of the Bonds that actually like wanted to keep doing more, and then they cut him off because of the poor response to the last one. Whereas Daniel Craig, kind of the opposite. Like most of his, I mean, yeah, I guess some of them weren't well received, but I feel like his movies overall were more well received. But he just hasn't wanted to do it for a while now.
So basically,
he's
just
an actor.
So I just say, yeah, I think it would be cool. It would be really confusing since it's all considered one franchise and the Daniel Craig ones are still Bond 21, 22, 23 or whatever. So it'd be confusing how you brand it. But I would say, I guess something I'd like, sort of like a fantasy thing, it would be cool to see a fifth Pierce Brosnan Bond movie. Or like I said, a spin-off of one of the other characters from those earlier movies. Because I feel like with Pierce Brosnan, even you could do one more movie with him just to sort of reestablish that that's still like thing, and then you could spin off other characters from any of the original 20 movies, because he could sort of represent that original continuity Bond, and then you can move forward with the Daniel Craig ones and like
it's a multiverse.
I mean, yeah,
007 into the Bond verse.
Everyone's buying Elon Musk's bullshit about the multiverse. What the hell? It's, you're the studio head. You get to have this. Don't worry about justifying it.
I mean, if we're living in a world where Michael Keaton can come back as Batman in the multiverse, and possibly Toby and Andrew coming back in a Spider-Man movie, why the hell not?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and weren't we just on Buria's channel talking about logic in a zombie movie? You know what? Little zombie magic can help any franchise, is what I'm saying. All right, Cody, what about you? What's okay? First of all, just to catch up on the chat, Leisure says before Norton was classed, Ruffalo was director Louis Leterrier's first choice for the role. I find that fascinating. I'm not as big a Norton fan as some. I do not discount his chops, and I can't imagine Fight Club without Eric Norton. Now, do you know what I mean? Like, but Eric Norton or Chris Norton, whatever the hell, Norton.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, thank you. I'll just name everyone eventually. Buria Norton, Man of Movies Norton. But I find that fascinating that, because I got to admit, I think of the Hulk, I think of his... not Norton, but Mr. Ruffalo's kind of soulful and regular schmo kind of caught in a terrible scenario. I really buy that, and that would be exciting. What else do we have here? Okay, some more conversation. And hey, for all those in the chat, and if you're new to chat with on my channel, you know what? You guys have your side adventures. You know what? Just make sure you let everyone who needs to get in, trying to catch our attention, let us know. But have your side adventures. We're still talking about the universal giving rights back in that, and I'll leave you guys to that. Buria does not want James Bond killed off.
I'm not sure that I do either. I'm just
I
keep
doubt
that in
they
mind.
would do that, honestly.
I don't know. Okay, but for me, I guess they're really building up No Time to Die to be this like epic thing. Like it's almost 3 hours long, and he's already in the
Literally no time to die.
Yeah, so he
No time to release either, apparently.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, it's the grand. I mean, it was like the first one that like started the whole delay thing. I remember it was before any
Hot takes.
Is it? Is that a hot? I mean, it was the first
No,
one.
no. It was
Okay, sorry.
Cody's. Cody had a great hot take there. Little zinger.
Yeah. So I guess, I think it was No Time to Die, and then like a few days after that, it was A Quiet Place, which finally came out. But I still, me and Rob, you can't see it, right, Rob?
Oh, it's
Quiet
really
Place?
good, just so you guys know.
You can't see A Quiet Place, can you?
I mean, I did.
Not A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, you've had theaters open throughout the whole time, apparently. So,
Yeah, so
good for you.
yeah, so that's been one of the few ones I haven't been able to see because it's only in theaters. Most of the other ones have released, and I could rent them or whatever. But I don't know. I appreciate that it only went to theaters, though, even if I can't see it, just because I appreciate anything that'll keep movie theaters alive. Because I think that would be quite a tragedy to lose movie theaters.
I mean, movie theaters are kicking pretty good butt right now, thanks to Quiet Place 2.
Yeah. So
I'm
happy.
I mean, I bought stock in AMC a few months ago, and I'm finally earning off of it, which is pretty sweet. So,
Well,
yeah.
apparently you're a buy low, sell high kind of guy, you weirdo.
I think Sorry.
Go ahead. So go, Eric.
Once again, I do that thing where I'm trying to get to a point, and then I start talking about something completely different. So I think the reason there's a good chance James Bond will die in No Time to Die is because it's the last Daniel Craig movie. It's the 25th movie in the franchise. That's kind of a landmark in and of itself. And he retired in the last movie. He's how
is this related to you being president of Universal? If you can finish this statement about your long sidebar on James Bond, if you can relate it to you being the new president of Universal, please finish. Please continue.
Oh, well, because if he's dead, then that's going to determine the trajectory of the franchise. And that would be a reason if you want to still have James Bond movies, but they would be in a different continuity, or maybe it would set up that whole continuity again with Pierce Brosnan.
Again, zombie magic, multiverse. What did Buria hashtag Bond multiverse? There you
Into
go.
the Bond
Zack
verse,
Snyder gets one. Bond can have one. All right.
everyone's got a multiverse these
Miss
days.
Cub, welcome.
Yeah, Miss Cub,
Woo!
high school
Good to
friend.
see. Yeah.
I let know
Very
about this.
cool. Very cool. Very cool. Great to see you, Ms. Cub. Cody. Okay, we've maybe. What else? What else would you do as the head of Universal? Is there any policies you would put into place? Any, I don't know. Again, we get to be the magician. We're not
I've
the
got a few
apprentice anymore, or we are the apprentice. Running amok while the magician is away.
I've got a couple thoughts. Not all of them are movie related. A couple of them are theme park related. I don't know how movie studio versus the theme park company works, but I feel like the president of Universal would have some say so in the parks. So as far as Universal theme parks go, I would try to find some way to bring back the Back to the Future ride, which, for those of you unaware, came out in early 90s, I believe, and then it closed down in 2007, was replaced with the Simpsons ride, which, to be fair, pretty good substitute. It's a really fun ride, and they expanded into a bunch of other Simpsons themed stuff, which is a lot of fun. But I feel like Back to the Future is managed to maintain its relevance over the years. I feel like that'd be kind of a fun piece of movie history to bring back in some capacity, because if you have the Blu-ray or DVDs of the 25th anniversary, the 30th or whatever, they have the different videos that play when you're waiting in line of Doc Brown going through the Institute of Future Technology, be like, oh, this is how we do time travel, and oh no, Biff stole a time machine, you guys have to save the planet and stuff. It's a lot of fun, and I feel like if there was a way, I would try to bring it back. But the issue with Universal Parks is, especially the Hollywood one, it's attached to the movie studio, so not a whole lot of real estate there unless they tear something else down or tear down a soundstage. But Universal Orlando, they don't really have that issue, so find some way to bring that ride back. I think that'd be really cool. That's just because I enjoy theme parks a lot, so I'm like, oh, cool, I get to have the keys of the kingdom, so let's make some changes that some people might be like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? So it was kind of just one I thought about. And also thinking about aside from just simply the movies, I feel like there's room for maybe like a really high budget AAA Jurassic Park type game that could be made at some point. Like, maybe it could be like an original story, like takes place on the original park or something, like maybe something about like the dinosaurs breaking loose and things like that. We've had Jurassic Park games before, but I feel like if we can get like a really good one, like an Arkham Asylum, Arkham City level game, I think that'd be really cool. Just think about like different ways to bring different franchises to life outside of just the movies, even though they make plenty of money to begin with. So it's just kind of like what I was thinking as far as like Universal as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And okay, and then the one thing I would do movie-wise is I would try to bring back the Dark Universe. Their attempt at bringing the MonsterVerse back to life that failed miserably thanks to the 2017 Mummy movie. But do it right this time. Have somebody in charge for like a Kevin Feige type be like, all right, you go and remake Dracula, you do Frankenstein, and this. I would also try to find a way to make it so the Invisible Man, Leigh Whannell's Invisible Man remake is part of that because that movie is just so good. So I think, because I feel like Universal Monsters, they definitely deserve their spotlight in the shared universe realm that we're in right now because, well, they basically invented the shared universe back in the 50s. So I feel like they deserve the shot, and also it would be nice to have some more horror movies that aren't just, oh no, the demons are haunting the household. We gotta stop them because I'm getting real sick of that crap.
I mean, I thought the Invisible Man was supposed to be their like second attempt at that whole universe, or
Kind of, sort of, yeah, but they're not like, this is the Dark Universe and we're doing it again, but right this time. I mean, they have a few things in development, like I think Chloe Zhao is supposed to be working on a Dracula reboot, if I understand that correctly. So I'm like, okay, let's keep going with that, build off the momentum, get some talented people. Don't try to make it some corny action blockbustery type thing like they did with the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. It's like, make them monster movies, make them scary, make them really good. People will pay money to see it. And soon enough, we could have another Dracula versus Frankenstein movie, or another Jekyll and Hyde movie. I think that'd be really cool. So basically, just kind of trying to respect the heritage of Universal, bring back the MonsterVerse. It's time for the monsters to come back. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. On that note, so first, Leger, remake Trespasser, The Lost World, Jurassic Park. I just like the idea of Trespasser. Just remake Trespasser in any genre. For myself, guys, I'm going to kind of riff on something you said, Cody. One of the best cinematic experiences I've had in the last a year and change was this. It was a Sony PlayStation game, finally got ported over to PC. I cannot quite remember what it's called, although it's by the same folks who did the Quantum Break game and a couple others, very story-driven. You play three characters in separate kind of storylines, super cinematic. I still haven't returned to this game because I couldn't get the little girl. You're playing robots, except, it's basically a hey, imagine the Underground Railroad, except robots, Anyway, great game, real cinematic experience. Could you folks imagine
Detroit Become Human?
Yes, Detroit Become Human. I got choked up at the end because I couldn't get the little girl to the border. Never mind get her across it. And it was near the end. I was pissed but just thoroughly engaged. Even though, if I was reviewing it as a movie, I'd say, well, it takes the politics and the history rather simplistic. It's a simplistic approach, blah, blah, blah. Girlfriend Reviews did a great analysis of it and pointed out its story flaws. God, though, it was good. Could you imagine a studio, a Universal Pictures, saying, and kind of what you're thinking, saying, you know what, we are going to commit to this kind of game. We're going to go big, not just, because you can get some A-list actors in these things, but almost like it's a side hustle. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll go do a couple of cutscenes. Their agent calls, yeah, the check cleared. $1 million for a day of screwing around in a video game? I'm on my way. But if they committed real money to really put you in a film experience, a gamified film experience, put real money there, because I really do. I think if that's really, that could be the real future of film, of cinema, of giving us a cinematic experience, is an interactive cinematic experience. And I'm not necessarily, I just love the way that game managed that. So it's still gameplay. It's not choose your own adventure, although all your choices do have dramatic consequences. They, change the storyline in that. I paid top dollar for that game years after it came out, worth every nickel. Which really means that Universal et al. There's money on those tables. If they could give us that real, and again, spending the big money, something where I'm going,
right.
oh, yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
Universal made that game?
No, it was a Sony game and
Okay.
a game studio within Sony.
Yeah.
Or not within Sony, it was a Sony PlayStation game, but a separate. I don't want to say it was Epic, but I think I have to launch my Epic launcher to get it started. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. Like I said, I haven't been able to return to it because it touches.
Yeah, no, I did actually I have played the full game.
Yeah, yeah. So I that's what I would do if I had the money, or if I had the sway, the pull that the CEO has. I'd be like, damn,
Make some games, damn it.
I'd put big money in that. So we've got some more comments from our wonderful chat. It is now Blumhouse. Leisure, are you talking about is the trespasser thing? Because I didn't even get that reference. I've just had some fun with it, but I wasn't sure where you're going with that. Now, are you saying Blumhouse? Would you buy Blumhouse? Would you just give them more money? Who does Blumhouse work with most of the time?
Universal.
Universal. So is Leger saying more money to Blumhouse? I'd like to know. And guys, what do you think of that? Would you give more money to that team?
Yeah, I love Blumhouse's movies. I mean, they have the right idea, low budget horror movies that turn into very profitable franchise. I mean, they've done Happy Death Day, the movie
Fantasy
Freaky.
Island.
That movie, that was the worst movie of 2020, I think.
Okay, they're not all winners, but they got the right idea. Happy Death Day movies, The Purge. Movies that aren't. The Happy Death Day movies are really good. Freaky was really good. I really enjoyed the 2018 Halloween movie they did.
Up-and-coming talent.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
Oh, sorry, you really enjoyed what?
It's I really enjoyed Halloween 2018. Not everyone loved it, but I did. It was what I wanted from a new Halloween movie. I'm looking forward to Halloween Kills this year. They've also got, I already said Happy Death Day, right? Yeah. And they're also doing a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which I think, Blumhouse doing it makes perfect sense. Think they're the right people to do it. So, I would definitely make sure they stay fed because they know what they're doing with horror movies most of the time. So, yeah, definitely more Blumhouse would definitely be good. That was just kind of my thing, yeah.
Cool. What about you? What do you think of that, committing more funds to Blumhouse? Leger's idea. We're assuming that's Leger's idea.
I guess, yeah, from what I know, they've made some good ones. I don't think I've seen a lot of. I know, I'm aware of all the ones you mentioned, Cody, but I'm not a big horror movie guy. I think. I don't think you mentioned you aren't really either, are you, Rob?
No.
Yeah.
That's why after you guys have been putting out a lot of horror content, and I've been very silent because I'm like, I would find even the description of how scary the movie is somewhat frightening.
Yeah,
I just
anyway,
like
continue.
seeing people in masks stab people a bunch of times. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. I mean, A Quiet Place is one of the only ones I really want to see. That's my kind of horror. But
Yeah.
so I guess Blumhouse.
And for whatever reason,
last
I'm
one I
okay
saw
with
was-
zombie movies.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so
If-
that.
I would think the only thing that you and Burry have missed, I think, in some of your perfectly accurate logical criticisms, is like in Army of the Dead, so many shout outs to previous zombie movies.
Yeah.
Kind of like Love and Monsters had a whole bunch of shout outs to previous post-apocalyptic films. You know, Loving and I think that's what Army of the fuck, that was a fun movie. It just
Yeah, I agree.
doesn't change my mind about
surprised.
Zack Snyder, but
No.
it
I mean,
was
yeah, that's the thing that's surprising.
fun nonetheless.
So many people, like, if you've seen the IMDb rating is really bad for it, and I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I don't get why. Like, it's his worst rated movie on IMDb. It's worse than Sucker Punch, which blew my mind. I think that's his worst movie easily.
That's fascinating. Now, do you guys? Okay, really not related to what we're talking
Okay,
about.
sorry, I'm looking up Blumhouse
no,
right
no,
now to see what I've seen.
But I want to put a pin in that. We'll talk about it in the green room after because I have a theory on that. Let's get back to
okay, wait, was Get Out? Get Out was Blumhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I thought that was that Blumhouse and A24 or something, or did they? I don't know.
No,
Okay,
A24 was not involved with that one. It was.
oh, okay. It was.
I think it was just Blumhouse. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That,
A24 was like Us and what's the
I don't
well,
think
they
I
do a
don't.
lot.
I don't
they
think
do
they did Us.
No?
really freak me out, like Hereditary and Midsummer and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
movies
I don't. Yeah, I
Get
think
Out.
they did those. I don't think they did
I know.
Us. Think that was also Blumhouse.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
Okay, well, yeah, Get Out. Like, yeah, if they made more stuff like that, I'd be down for it. Cause, yeah, I thought Get Out was a pretty fantastic movie. Like, for my genre video, I picked that as my favorite horror movie. It was one of the only ones I really liked. Cause, yeah, I think it had like some interesting things to say, like that you don't normally get in a horror movie. So, I mean, yeah, more kind of small movies like Get Out, I'd be down for. And I think even one of the rare ones they did that's not like a horror movie is like Whiplash, right?
oh yeah, I love Whiplash.
So I've seen it like one time. I need to rewatch it, but I remember, yeah, it was a really really just well done movie. And
It's a fantastic
Performances.
movie. Definitely it's probably one of my top 10 favorite movies ever, honestly.
oh wow, yeah, I feel like I need to rewatch it because I don't have it like that quite high, but yeah, definitely in terms of like Blumhouse from the stuff I've seen of them, yeah, it's like Get Out and Whiplash are like the ones that definitely
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the stuff that makes me think like, okay, yeah, they should like Lajer is saying,
The
get more-
Invisible Man.
But yeah, that's true too.
You know?
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
Blumhouse do the MonsterVerse. Boom, case closed.
Yeah, I guess my impression was they already were, but maybe I think what probably like you mentioned, they're probably afraid to announce a whole universe again and get ahead of themselves, and they just want to start out.
Upgrade.
So,
Oh yeah, Upgrade was really good too.
I have,
You know-
I have seen that one.
Blumhouse, give them the monies, damn it. What are we talking about here?
Well, you know what they seem to have, both them and throw A24 under this same bus or throw them on the same bus. Lower budgets, they can make a lot. Their misses don't kill them. You know, the Fantasy, which is probably one of their more expensive films. Like, I mean, it
Oh yeah,
had
Fantasy
in
Island.
some ways the
was-
most names. So that they took probably a pretty deep financial hit for that. But otherwise, you look at it, it's a lot of never heard of, didn't hear of it until that film, you know, like, which is great. Like a lot of solid talent out there who does not have that name recognition, doesn't command that budget busting fee where you have to make it's got to be great or attached to a property that also has another budget busting fee.
Yeah,
that- Would that be a great way to describe how you guys would run the studio? Like in a more, hey, let's just do a whole bunch of ground balls, you know, spread our money into these creative pots and, you know, see
I
how
mean,
it plays out? Or
Yeah, I mean,
because you guys have also talked about some big money franchises.
I mean, yeah, I still
Even if it's just Hulk, it's still going to be a lot of money. That will not be a budget production.
I mean, for me, I could
Hulk
I could
opens up a
live with
bed and
them-
breakfast.
I could live with maybe just maybe just kill the Fast and Furious franchise and just give all the money they're going to get for that and put it into smaller movies, and then they just save all their bigger money for just maybe like Jurassic World. But like, I don't know if this is a hot take, but yeah, Fast and Furious is like, that's of all the biggest blockbuster franchises, that is the one I just like can't get into. I've seen like all of them. And
that is a hot take.
I don't know. They just don't do it for me. I mean, I can be like, and I'm a sucker for big blockbusters, but something about those movies, everything in between the action is just so cringy to me. I don't know. The humor doesn't do it for me. Sorry? Yeah, I don't know.
Smart ass.
The humor and everything just makes me roll my eyes. Like, and I'm someone who I laugh out loud in Marvel movies and stuff. I love all that kind of humor, but I don't know. Fast and Furious. I'll admit, I've been watching through them. They have their moments where I'm like, I kind of like this, and I think the seventh one, if I had to pick by default, would be my favorite. Because I'll admit, it was a bit emotional, like you sent up Paul Walker, but like outside of that, but that was kind of that was kind of a fourth wall breaking thing. That wasn't anything really in the actual movie. So outside of that, I don't know. The movie's just.
Yeah, now kind of going off of that a little bit, where you're saying like let the Fast and Furious franchise die. I mean, I do get that, but also it's a big money maker.
Yeah.
So fiscally wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But what I would do is, excuse me, is, you know, maybe after we let some of these lower budget, you know, like Blumhouse level movies run, you know, see what kind of talent we have behind the scenes there. Maybe let them try some bigger budget stuff, you know, because Fast and Furious, that didn't just magically, it's not based on any, you know, real source material. You know, the first movie was essentially like a remake of Point Break, but with fast cars, basically. So, you know, let's maybe get like a room of these creatives together and see if they can make another, you know, billion-dollar franchise. Because, you know, we're going to need new, you know, blockbuster franchises eventually. Because, you know, there's only so many Jurassic World and Fast and Furious movies you can make. So, you know, it's like, let these creatives work smaller. And then be like, all right, the last 2 or 3 movies you've made, you know, little budget, great ideas, great money makers. What else you got? Let's go big.
You know what, guys? I'm going to stop you there for a second. I think you've given me an idea that may be a great summing up question, but we got a couple of comments in the chat I just wanted to catch up on with everyone here, so hang tough. Okay, first of all, what do you guys think? Leger says their big mistake was letting Legendary go. And I think this is referring back to the Monsterverse, whatever, the Dark Universe, whatever the heck it's called. They could have had a whole slate of films produced or acquired by Legendary, with Legendary covering all the advertising costs. Like the promotion costs, was Legendary and Universal in a deal, or
more or less, yeah.
Okay, so they had some sort of development deal, a multi-picture production deal, where Legendary would take care of the marketing costs as part of their input as part of their stake.
Yeah, because they worked with Warner Brothers, like, in the past, like, they were attached to Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and stuff. And I think they moved to Universal, and they moved back to Warner Brothers for the Monsterverse with Godzilla and Kong and all those movies, which, you know, those movies, love them or hate them, they're pretty big movies, and they're crowd-pleasing movies for the most part, so I do see where he's come from, saying, like, letting that go was a bit of a mistake, because, you know, people like to crowd theaters and watch these giant monsters destroy buildings and stuff, so yeah, I definitely see that.
What do you think there, Eric, on that?
I guess Legendary, I mean, yeah, as far as like, so if they could have had basically like what Warner Brothers has now with their Monsterverse with Godzilla and Kong, I mean, yeah, if they could have kept it and had something like that, then yeah, I think I definitely agree. It was kind of a missed opportunity. Yeah, obviously those movies, I think, yeah, like you mentioned, Cody, not the best movies ever, but they kind of work for what they are.
Yeah, they're fun movie theater experiences.
Yeah, Well, yeah, couldn't see Godzilla vs. Kong in a movie theater, but still pretty fun.
Here's
Sorry.
ooh. All right, we got one more comment I think needs to be highlighted, and yeah, Buria is in the lead, I think. Another hot take. Eric would eradicate Fast and the Furious universe in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not that, like, if it was, like, I think if I, like, had to pick one franchise of, like, that kind of scale, then it would be that one. It's not like I'm, like, gunning for it, like, on its own, but, like, if one had to go, it's that one.
Okay. Well, here, let me ask you this question, guys, and I think that'll be time to about wrap it up, and we could talk more in the green room afterwards, of course. But we've been having a good time. So I've got two questions for you. One, and maybe this is almost like a pin in it thing, something to talk about. Maybe there'll be another opportunity. But how would you've got all these franchises, right? How would you guys go about? Let me preface my statement. Superhero movies. You see, they're all starting to divvy up. Everyone's digging up. And I would say the Monsterverse is another superhero kind of universe. Like that idea of we've got a plethora of characters, almost fantasy characters. Now, Westerns lasted for like 50, 60 years. Like they'd never... Mm-hmm. Like every time people are saying we're sick of Westerns, be like, no, we got another 10 years of this. And then 20 years later, we sick of Westerns yet? No, we are not. It really wasn't until the 70s when so many seismic changes, both within the industry, socially, that Westerns really did, I would argue, die, and then they became neo-Westerns, but they're almost like it's kind of like musicals. Every now and then somebody will revive a musical, but they're not coming back to theaters, not in any big way, not like they were in the 30s. So you're a studio executive, you're running Universal Pictures, and you're going, how could we... Well, we've got our whole development pipeline. It does what it does. And actually, I'm not one of those studio knockers. I think these folks are pretty good at what they do. There's a reason. Part of the reason these companies have been around for 100 years, partly a lot of monopolistic tendencies, access to capital, expensive entry. But some of it is they kind of know what they're doing. They have a vague idea. But you're thinking about it, and you're going, how else can we develop and this is my question to you, how would you guys how would you look at a way to kind of think out of the box and go, okay, never mind what the superhero movie or any of these verse movies, these extended universes are, it's what's going to be the next thing? How do we develop so that maybe one of our small hits really becomes, and that's what we're all about? Because, after the chaos of the late, let's say 1967, Bonnie and Clyde et al., cinema changes. You have the 70s, it's just amazing creative output. But, you had the 1-2 punch of Jaws and Star Wars, and all of a sudden it's like, this is what we will be about for the next 50 years. And it really did put the studios back into a position where we go, we know how to make money. Make another one of those. How would you do that as a studio executive? And then my second question is, you get one more thing to say you'd do before we wrap it up. We're already over an hour here, guys.
Well, I guess as far as like trying to think like what's the next big thing is, don't treat it like the next big thing, because we've seen time and time again where these studios will bring up this movie, maybe it's based on a book or maybe it's a reboot of something, and like, this is going to be the big thing, we're going to do a trilogy, we're going to do spin-offs, but then they forgot to make a good movie the first time around. And, in that first movie, they crammed a bunch of setups and, different weird things to set up sequels and all that. And they just kind of forgot to make a good movie. So it's like, if you want to adapt, like, some famous book that could, potentially grow into something bigger, just focus one movie at a time. You know, if there's like some sci-fi fantasy novel or out there that's like, oh yeah, this belongs on the big screen, but it can go on for like a trilogy, just make the first movie and do a good job at it. Put everything into it. That's what they did with Star Wars, Jaws. They were like, oh yeah, it'd be kind of cool if we could make, more of these Star Wars movies, but, we kind of need to just try to actually get this first one made first.
And I suspect they didn't even think of making a 2 or a 3 when they were making it. I know, notwithstanding whatever George Lucas says, the studio was, all right, make your little space opera thing.
Exactly.
Jaws was make your horror movie, make your, even Aliens, I'll make your Jaws in space. I kind of like what you're saying there, Cody, and I think the only change I would do is it'd be more of a, okay, here is a unit that's going to make things that we don't make. And I like what you say. It's not going to be about here, make us the next big thing. It's just make stuff we don't make, spread it out amongst 5 or 10 filmmakers. People the pipeline wouldn't give a nickel to. I don't mean morons, but, people where you're like, they're not good studio directors. They are good directors. And like you said, it's the focus would be deliver us a good movie. The franchise part will take care of itself.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'd choose.
I think
what about you,
audiences
Eric?
I guess, yeah. So for me to like kind of, I have some ideas of what I'd like to see. As for like what'll actually happen, I guess I'll sort of echo what Cody said, because it's kind of like almost impossible to predict, really, in a way, because it's like, yeah, whenever they try to make the next big thing, it's never really usually ends up being the next big thing. Because like nobody, even though it was like a big movie, nobody thought Iron Man when it came out would be the start of the biggest franchise of all time. So, I mean, and the one thing I would say, I mean, I'm sure eventually it'll die off, but I think one thing that'll give superhero movies even like a longer possible longevity than any of the other things you mentioned, like Westerns or anything, is because those are genres, whereas superhero movies, that's not really even a genre. That encapsulates so many different kinds of genres, really. Because
I would argue it is a genre. It's
a
within the
subgenre.
crime macro genre.
No, but if you look at something like, I don't think there's as much variety. I like Westerns for the most part, but I still need to see more of them. But I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think there's as much variety and things like that. Whereas like if you look at superhero movies, well, that could encapsulate anything from technically like, I don't know, like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, which is pretty much a drama. It's not even really an action movie, all the way to like Thor Ragnarok, which is like some zany, bonkers space opera. So like they I don't know, like I would argue those are pretty much, but despite being both superhero movies, are they really the same genre?
Yeah, they're superhero genres. Remember, drama is not a genre. It's a type, but it's not a genre. Like you didn't go into the movie store and go, comedy's on this side, drama's on that side, and then go, well, I want to laugh. Okay, what else do you want to do? And then literally everything divvied up in there. As a matter of fact, though, notwithstanding the rant I had when I did my 10 best 10 genre thing, me and Jim did that, what I would recommend is stick around, or I'm going to have a special guest, another academic, but also a screenwriter. Screenwriting teacher, has had actual work produced in that. He's going to be a special guest later in June. And so let's put a pin on the genre conversation until that show.
Okay. And I guess
so
as far
back
as
to the studio executive.
Something that I would actually like to see, because again, I don't know what will be the next big thing. I think a lot of people would like to see probably some more, almost like something like a big universe, but maybe something animated. That would be different. I think that like operated on the same level of something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or something, and maybe something like the Spider-Verse movie could be the start of something along those lines. Like something that maybe would appeal to more adults, but still like, I mean, I think there's adult cartoons, like I guess there's that show Invincible I still need to watch more of. And I liked it, but I mean, that's still very like they tend to use like a more limited style of animation for some reason with adult stuff, and then it's the stuff aimed at kids more that actually gets the really high quality animation. I noticed, so it would be interesting to see something more along. Well, the Spider-Verse is, I think, a good example. It's not like super adult, but it's something adults I would say enjoy. So something more
And I
along the
thought
lines
the
of that being
Animation was amazing in that.
Mm-hmm.
Invincible.
No, in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's like a rare example, I think, of where it was amazing.
Heavy Metal.
Yeah, I think I've seen clips of that, but yeah, I just mean like in terms of it would be cool if something like Spider-Verse turned into like, I mean, I know it is Marvel, but I mean if that specific kind of take on Marvel turned into like the next MCU.
Yeah, that was only so good because they just put everything they had into that movie. They weren't like, oh, let's just save half of this for the sequel. It's like, no, they just put their 100% into that movie, and that's why it was so good, and that's why we're getting a sequel. So yeah, that's the kind of mindset I'm thinking about, is don't try to set up 4 movies in one. Just make one really good movie, and the sequels will take care of themselves. It's something
I
so
think
good
myself
the first time.
as let's say a studio head, I could defend it. Let's say we're having this conversation and I'm in charge of it. Say, part of the reason why they got it's a way to spread the risk, way to spread that initial investment on 4 films. Where they say, okay, we're going to have to spend $500 million on this thing anyway, but at least it will establish it for another 4 movies where we're spending $200 million a piece or something. So I kind of get why studios do it. I still agree with you, Cody. You know what? Just number one should be a good movie, not worried about how it fits into a future system. That will, I think it will. It'll take care of itself. All right, we've got one more hot. Well, I'm not going to say it's a hot take, but it is a funny one from Buria. He's gotten enough hot takes. He doesn't need any more. And we need a Transformers Jurassic Park crossover. You know what? I want to say somebody's already done that as a great comedy bit. Oh, geez, I think I saw it on TikTok. Transformers Jurassic Park, because you already have, and then a different series, a different franchise was jammed in there, because you already have mechanized Transformers who can help you hunt all this other crap. It was hilarious. Okay, guys, any final comments before say goodbye to this wonderful chat that we've had supporting us as we've explored this? Eric?
I mean, so Jace's comment about Transformers and Jurassic Park, I mean, I get that on the surface level, but at the same time, as silly as some of the Jurassic Park movies have been, I feel like they don't quite deserve.
As opposed to Transformers?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they quite deserve to be lumped in to the same universe as Transformers. That really, I don't think has had even really one solid movie. I guess the first one's fine, but whereas Jurassic Park, I think, I don't know. That's why I wouldn't be into it, like crossing over with Fast and Furious, like they were saying, or something. Like I feel like it's earned its better company.
Whatever. I think he was just being a smartass.
Yeah, no, I know.
And so I'll ask you the question again. Any final thoughts on the topic, on being on being the head of Universal?
Yeah, I guess to sum it up, like sort of what Cody was saying, I think, yeah, maybe just slow down. I mean, no pun intended, but slow down Fast and Furious, and maybe give some more money to smaller movies like Blumhouse kind of stuff, and then maybe just keep like one bigger tentpole, like Jurassic World or something, and maybe make them a bit better if you're not trying to split yourself between Fast and Furious and that. I want one more good. I guess I want one more good, really good Jurassic Park movie, because it's still like there's the first one and then there's the rest. I want one that at least comes close to the first one. I'll say that.
Yeah, the new one sounds like it's shaping up to be just that, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's been many in that series that it's been shaping up to be, and then we watch it.
Yeah.
Go, well, that was a movie.
I have like a really
dinosaurs.
Yeah, I've had a really fun time with even the last one, I had a lot of fun when I watched it, and then, but yeah, once you think about
Okay.
it doesn't hold up.
I got to cut you off there. We're way over time now. Cody, last thoughts.
Well, I feel like if I was President Universal, they'd probably kick me off the board pretty quickly because I have reasonable ideas. But I mean, this has been fun to spitball and talk about. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see some of these ideas come to fruition someday, and we can collect our loyalty checks somewhere down the road.
Well, I will do some minor editing, or I might not even have to. It will get tweeted back at them. Hey, here are our thoughts. All right. On that note, I'm gonna, guys. I'll send you to the green room. We'll hang out for a bit, have a little post show chat. But I'll ask you both to just say, you know what? Before I do though, Cody, why don't you, here, my friend. Whoopsie, let's put you there. Cody, why don't you tell us about your channel, what you're excited about, what you got coming up?
Well, as far as some of you know, my channel is the Brock Upside, place for those who live talking by movies, talk about a lot of physical media, Blu-ray releases and things like that. And I guess the biggest thing I'm looking forward to right now is the Indiana Jones 4K re-release coming out next week. Super pumped for that. Kind of been taking a small break lately. Well, I think that's going to be like a really nice comeback video, and might have a special guest with that review if all goes well. So, yeah.
Very cool,
man. Look out for that.
All right, cool. Well, listen, Eric, how about yourself? Eric Thorpe Reviews is, of course, your show on YouTube. What are you excited about? What you got going on? I mean, other than an awesome collab recently with Burya Rokar.
Yeah, well, we're still haven't like totally decided what it'll be yet, but we are gonna have do another collab sometime pretty soon. One that'll be on my channel. So there's that, and then I guess probably my next video I want to put out a review for Cruella, but there's that, and I guess I don't know. Maybe some Loki reviews when that starts, but yeah, I don't know. I guess, and one thing I've been spitballing wanting to do, but I don't know. I haven't gotten efficient enough yet with doing YouTube videos. It would be really cool to review, because we talked about how much of a Bond fan I am. It would be cool to review each of those movies leading up to No Time to Die, but we'll see if that happens.
All right. Well, awesome. Myself, folks, everyone, you may already know me. I am co-host. Of course, I run this channel is mine. I'm co-host of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. And Jim and I, we have a weekly show. We're on every Sunday evening, 9:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And this Sunday, we're going to be taking a look at Disney's Cruella. We're going to watch it this week, and that's kind of the gag. That is the gag for our show. We watch the movie, and then we ramble on about it, sometimes for as long as or even longer than the movie runtime. It is, listen, folks, Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's home of the best chat on the internet. So hope to see you all there. And let's get that out of the way. All right, everyone. With that in mind, I do want to thank everyone in the chat. That includes, let me make sure I get everyone right here. Of course, Man of Movies. Good to see you here, Jonathan. Thank you so much for dropping by. I know you're a busy guy, and I know it's a late night, so do appreciate you chatting with us from the East Coast. Burya Rokar, thank you very much for popping in with your comedy gold and your hot takes. Really just enjoyed that. Hope you had a good time, and hopefully we'll see you hanging around maybe on a Sunday night or one of my hot mic reviews. Miss Club, you know what? Good to see you out supporting Eric and helping us figure out that name, because apparently we're all I've played it, spent hours with it. Name, I don't know. Anyway, great to see you here. You're more than welcome to return. You don't necessarily just have to have Eric here in advance. Okay, or maybe that's the only reason you're on the internet as well. It's like, if he wasn't my friend, I wouldn't be here anyway. Who else? Oh, the Upside Down, he had popped by. Am I missing anyone, guys? I think I've got, Leisure Dino Golf, good to see you. Thanks for bringing it. You know what? Thanks for chiming in, especially with those research, that bit of detail just makes it more interesting. Really appreciate that. So yeah, I think I got everyone. Yeah, I think that's about it. Well, with that out of the way, I am going to check the chat off, and I'm going to send you guys to the green room, and I am going to shamelessly bring up the music, mention that, again, yes, we're going to be doing... Where am I here, folks? Let me, yes, Cruella this Sunday, and I think that's about it. Somewhere here will be a subscribe, or, perhaps over here, hey, you could watch a different video. Please check that out. And I think that's about it. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.